the one, but I'm not sure it means number one. Gallinari, give it to Jokic, and he lofts it up over Blow. He's got 13 points here in the first half. Jokic, dump it under to Harris. Oh, what a sweet pass. It's 16 in the third quarter. Jokic, sling it underneath. Basket counts, foul. Another slinger from the Joker. See how the Nuggets play it here. Moutier underneath. Chandler! Ribbings are on a 10-2 run in the last minute 39. Jameer Nelson casts off, and that's good. 11-point lead, 96 seconds. Jameer Nelson, Gary Harris. Got
it! Do we just have a Yokemiss highlight reel without Yoke?
Well, actually, he didn't score that many points in that game is the craziest part.
He did have my favorite highlight that did not make the cut. The one-handed slinger from the Joker, which is to this day my number one. It happened on, a lot of people don't know this, it happened on December 15th. The one-handed slinger from the Joker.
Wow.
Maybe, it's not his most spectacular pass ever, but maybe one of my favorite passes of his ever.
I gotta be honest, it bothers me that you made sure that your bangs were outside of this hat that you just put on.
Well, I'm about to take it off, and don't want to mess up the bangs. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Merry Yokemiss to everybody. Happy December 15th.
To all of you.
Is this our fourth straight Yokemiss? I mean, it's every year. It gets better and better. It's fantastic.
Wow.
No Nuggets game today, unfortunately, but I'm sure it'll be a good one anyway. We're here. I'm Adam Mattes. I'm joined by my colleague, the man with the wind in the hat. It's Harrison Wind.
Those jerseys that the Nuggets had on Jok-mas, the only good sleeve jerseys in NBA history. The only good ones ever. Yeah,
that might be true. I think that might be true. By the way, shouts to stock Christmas music. Like this is it sounds like it's a Christmas song, but it's actually just generic royalty-free music. So, and then I'm also joined by the man from Ithaca College. It's Brendan Vogt.
Is it weird that the Nuggets just made the conference finals, and then I see Jameer Nelson and Gary Harris, and I'm like, the glory days, the golden days.
I'm telling you, those were the glory days. That was a fun year. That was a very fun year. And then
I miss those bros.
Yeah, well, we missed you too. The bro down below, it's D-line.
Wait, you miss me, the bro down below? I'm here.
The bro down below? That's funny.
You miss me while I'm here? Wilson Chandler. Did you see that sweet pass from Moutier, too?
Oh, man.
Back, baby.
Moutier, I don't miss that one. That was the one bad part. We do have a good show for you today, though, guys. We're going to, of course, preview tomorrow, talk about the things we're most interested to see tomorrow. We're going to talk about Giannis. He signed a contract. He's staying. That'll come up really quick. We'll talk about Clutch Points, the most reputable outlet on the web, that has ranked the Denver Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray as the number 2 duo in the NBA, which I felt like is very,
clutch points in the club.
In the club. Clutch points is in the club. But we're going to start today, guys, with Yokemiss. There it is. They're in the club. With Yokemiss, guys, it's December 15th. We joke. It's become a real legitimate holiday here in Nuggets Nation.
It's true. It's true. Even the Nuggets themselves, I think, referenced it. Did they not?
Have they?
Katie Wingy's picked up on this.
Katie Wingy, yeah, well, of course, she's a homie. Yeah. She's like, she gets it. I don't know if the Nuggets official has celebrated Yokemiss.
I gotta
look. It's the date that everything changed, man. I mean, you can talk about the field versus the Nuggets and whether they'll ever get it done, but this is a team that's giving you hope year in and year out as a fan, and it was a quick ascension out of a dark era there in Nuggets basketball for a little bit. So it's December 15th, the moment everything changed for this organization.
Well, so what technically happened was Jokic came in 2015-16 season and saved the Nuggets, but then he, was buried on the bench for 3 weeks, and then on the 15th he rose, and
yes, from the official Denver Nuggets account, happy 12-15 in parentheses.
We did it. We made it.
We
made it.
If you know, you know, baby.
This feels like when the Philadelphia 76ers officially recognized the process. The Nuggets recognizing December 15th feels like that.
100%. 100% feels like that. It is a memorable game to me, though, and a memorable day. Gary Harris also returned to the lineup that day. Remember, he was out for a while. It was funny. Malone was asked about it by Katie Wingy, clearly doing some work on something on a December 15th call. It's always funny when you're in a scrum and you can hear somebody ask the same question to a bunch of people, and you're like, oh, they're working on a project here. But it was like it really was a big turning point, though, where it was like, all right, this Nuggets team, we think Jokic is the guy. There's all this weird stuff. That was the day, and as Will Barton said, it's been what was his phrase? It's like we've been good since, or something like that. It's all the rest is history, and it is true, man. So to me, completely legitimate. And how many other teams have a date that they get to celebrate? You know what I mean? Like, it's fun that the Nuggets, no other team has a Christmas.
Single one.
We actually get 3 Christmases. We get Yokemiss. We get actual Christmas, which will feature the Denver Nuggets for the second time in a row. And we get Orthodox Christmas.
Which is just us drinking rakia. So it's
going to be, we're going to have Orthodox Christmas, the TNT game. We're going to have so much rakia that day. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it.
We need to figure out if Argentina has any oddly specific holidays that we now get to adopt into our own.
I think they celebrate normal Christmas. December
God
25th.
damn it! Fully wouldn't have gotten a full.
I know. I was so disappointed when I heard that. Damn it! Come on.
Kale, why don't you pull up actually the DNVR tweet with the rakia, because we did receive a gift, and I just want to we mentioned it on social media, but I know not everybody's on Twitter all the time, so we'll bring it up on this show because I know everybody's on this show all the time. But we got a gift, and I just want to say this to encourage people to send us gifts. That is a thing I didn't know was a possibility, but now that I know, it's actually strongly encouraged.
I like
green light on the liquor. We will accept that. Yeah.
I like it dressed as Santa. You're begging for gifts. That feels like the opposite.
That's true. Some cognitive dissonance here. Is there anything else we need to say on Jokic Christmas, guys? I mean,
dude,
it's like a feel-good day of the year, you know?
Yes. Listen, I mean, this is a time, even though we're talking about it being close to Christmas, this is really a Thanksgiving, is it not? Like a time to give.
You can play it, Kale, but just without volume.
Oh yeah, to watch me unbox it with a quarter, which I found.
He struggled. Spoiler alert. Eric struggles with this unboxing.
Yeah, I did struggle. I'm not good at. Well, I rarely receive presents. I should say that to begin with. But what a day to feel thankful. Like like a gift that was given unto us. Like we were asleep in a manger. There was no room at the inn, and who came down but a beautiful angel from Serbia.
Yeah, it was Chris Morley. I don't think from Serbia. Yeah.
Well, I mean Jokic specifically. The day, this day, okay. For why we should feel so thankful for what we were given. Obviously, the booze. I mean, if we're talking about without the mythical undertones, just. Chris, thanks for the booze, man.
Look at this. Someone else says they're working on a gift for us, which I like. Working. It implies like handcrafted gift.
Yeah,
it's a very
like a lot of work.
Wow, that's a very thoughtful one. Can't wait for it. Santa's bullying the children. They're telling me. No, look at this, man. We got that rakia. Look at this. So tomorrow, the post game show.
Let me kill it like a banana. I was just ready for it.
And you actually never completed it. You just gave up.
Gave right up.
Whatever. Out of here. You finish. You finish unwrapping this for you if you don't mind.
I told you all I had was a quarter to open things.
So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna be drinking this tomorrow. I'm not at all looking forward to it actually because I'm not the best drinker, but I will give it a shot. I'm told you're supposed to sip it slowly. So
I tried it. I tried it yesterday. I double checked that with some of my Serbian friends who said you do not have to just sip it under any circumstance. You are very much allowed to just shoot it. But it's good. It reminds me of grappa, a little bit like a treat liquor, but stronger than grappa. So
like a dessert. I see. I had no idea rakia was in the clear form. The only rakia I've had is dark, so I was a little thrown off, but I was very happily surprised.
Well, we can't wait for that. It's going to be a great, one day after Yokemiss celebration. I can't wait for it.
Good drunk we're going to throw on.
It is exciting today that the biggest piece of news in the NBA on Yokemiss is that Giannis Antetokounmpo is staying in Milwaukee. He is going to sign. I don't think he has already signed, but he is going to sign his Supermax extension. And it's funny that we're celebrating this, right? Yeah, there it is. It's funny that we're celebrating it to the degree that we are because it does feel a little bit like a win. And not that I have said that we don't want to do the ESPN thing where we start counting down the days till Jokic's contract is up and we get nervous and all these different things. But if we can go inside that world for just 1 second and say, it feels good to see one star stay. past basically, if you don't understand how the NBA works, you're on a rookie scale contract, and then you almost have to be retained. Like, it just makes more sense for you to be retained by your team. So a team, when they draft you, basically gets about 7 years. If you're a superstar, they get about 7 years with you, 7-8 years. So Giannis obviously goes through that. Jokic is going to go through that. It's that next contract, which usually their prime begins at the end of that, of that contract, going on to what would be their third contract. That's when their prime begins. Like, Giannis is just now entering it. So it's nice just to see one example and be like, wow, a superstar, arguably the best player in the NBA, probably at least top 3 or 4, is staying with his organization. I'll start with you, Eric, irrational fan. Yeah. How did you feel? What did you feel or think when you saw that news come through today?
Well, irrationally, I was very excited, even though it doesn't benefit the Nuggets in any way, shape, or form. It just feels like we were given a spiritual gift by the idea that the NBA is not fully irreparably broken, that the stars are not able to just all come together in sunny, warm locations and then dictate the way the league works from that point. The idea that you can have a place that seems so uninhabitable by NBA stars.
Uninhabitable,
right? Yeah,
I mean,
by NBA stars, and the one mark against just the general NBA not being broken is that Giannis is from Greece, and so he doesn't know any better necessarily. Like, I don't know if any.
Well, there is. Let's be real. Like, there is a level 2. He's European. He's foreign. Like, and we've known. Or this is anecdotally. I don't think you don't ever want to paint with a broad brush, but Gallo loved Denver. Like, European players have come through and really like the city of Denver. It reminds them of a European city more than maybe New York or LA. So people, that's the thing is, I think it's maybe different for European players, and of course our guy's a European player, but that should be noted. It's part of the story to me.
It is great. Yes. So the NBA is not irreparably broken. That's our gift today here on Yokemiss.
It's pretty broken, but.
Yeah, but it's not a.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis also, they scrapped for it growing up, that family. So this is a guy who he's loaded now in Milwaukee, and that might as well be paradise. Like, he doesn't have to compare that against South Beach, and he's doing fine. But it's a win for this idea of loyalty. It's a win for fan bases who want to buy jerseys and not fear that guy is on their way out, who don't dig the mercenary route. So it's a win. And you know what, Eric? It's a win for the Nuggets because keep Giannis in the East all day long. Keep Giannis. True. Yeah. It's fine with me.
And I also think what's great about it is, like, if Giannis had decided he was going to leave, it would have sucked because Milwaukee's done a lot of things correctly. They've built a great team from the ground up around him. But they've also screwed up, like their coaching hasn't been super top-notch. They haven't gotten to a finals. They had that disastrous sign-and-trade go awry just a couple weeks ago. They let Malcolm Brogdon walk. So there would have been reasons for him to leave. But I think the fact that he's sticking there and he's putting his trust into the only organization that he's known, massive victory for the small to mid markets that we are.
I see somebody in here says Denver is nothing like European cities, which I kind of crack up at.
Of course
what I mean by that is that New York is like the quintessential American city, right? Like, it's its own entity, and then Los Angeles is Hollywood and California and all this different stuff. They're so different. Denver more of just like it's a city that has this identity. It's own. That's all I mean to say with it. But
it's not. It doesn't have the glamour and the glitz. Much like European cities, I guess.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cherry Creek, pretty bougie out there.
Yeah. Pretty bougie.
Look, I think you have a different appreciation for parts of the United States if that's your first experience in the United States versus, I grew up coastal. I lived in LA for a few years. I'm working my way backwards to learning to value places like Colorado in this part of the country. So, yeah, I actually think that's a real dynamic.
And also, I just think the idea of, like, American celebrity is so different. I mean, this is the thing with a guy like Jokic, and I imagine there's at least a little bit of it of Giannis. I think Giannis, by all reports, he's a guy that enjoys being out of the spotlight for the most part. You wondered if maybe that was changing, and look, Jokic has a new logo. Have you seen the new logo on his shoes? Actually, Kale, you should pull up his new Joker logo from his shoe so we can have Eric sort of analyze it. But But he's starting to dress a little nicer. So there's always that little part of you that goes, "Oh God, is he clamoring for the late night clubs of Miami, or
Has he grown
probably
past
not.
this?
Probably not. But with Giannis, at least there was that fear. For me, at least there was that fear. But it's glad to see him choose Milwaukee of all places. Which
Milwaukee.
And I wonder, like, we don't cover the Bucks, so we can sort of speculate about this stuff just on the pod, but how much pressure he was feeling. Like, hey, I think the next thing for me to do in my basketball career might be move on. But I have said I want to stay here. I really don't want to be that guy. And I wonder if he signed this in spite of the mistakes Wynn just highlighted, I wonder how much conflict was there, because it is a little unfair that it then has to, like, this responsibility of, like, the health of basketball must now fall on Giannis's shoulders, who's simply just making a free agency decision. So, I mean, I wonder how much young players deal with that.
That dynamic is, like, insane where... And it just really stems from the fact that there are only 5 players on the court at any given time in a basketball game, and one player can absolutely alter the course of a game. So the immense power, the immense influence that each a really good player has, it sucks. You're right. I mean, it's it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like, he can decide what he wants to do, but unfortunately, it just so many other things fall down from that.
Kale, there's a much better view of the logo. I don't know if yeah, that might be it. There's another one I'd seen. Let me see if I liked it or something. But you can kind of get a sense of it. What do you? Let me see if I can find. While you analyze this, Eric, let me see if I can find the higher.
So this is a pretty typical player logo.
Yeah, this is very, very typical.
It's always the letters, how the initials intertwined in a way that they think is clever, but it's not usually.
So I mean, I don't really like the overall shape, if I'm being honest. I don't like how there's that big notch in the side where the 15, the counter form of the 1 creates this big notch in the side of the. I mean, I think that this is like a clever idea. I don't think it's really well executed. But it's I mean, it's cool. It's just they didn't get the overall. The silhouette is not really on point, unfortunately. But
that's true.
The idea is good.
Do you guys think Jokic went through a list of logos and cleared it, or someone just sent him a logo and he was like, yeah, sure.
He's like, yeah, check, done.
Yeah, it's definitely somebody close to him handling this aspect of his branding. I don't think he's
sure.
What if it wasn't? What if he was drawing all these by hand and he's watching right now and he's just pissed at Eric for his how crass he's been?
Well, first off, Jokic, huge fan. I love that. Thank you for tuning in, and I apologize for flaming your logo. It's a great idea. If you want me to help tidy up, I'm here, baby. I'll do it.
So LeBron's shoe, they're all designed to look cool first and foremost, but then they also they tell you okay, he's a big-bodied guy, so for big-bodied powerful players, the shoe's a little bit designed there. I know Paul George's shoe was really tall players who are mobile. There's ideas behind listen to that. What would the Jokic shoe be what if you were trying to design it that was tailored towards specifically making Jokic
it'd be
the
like
best
a
Jokic
boot.
Yeah, it'd be a boot. It'd be a shoe that was difficult to jump in.
Like
it would be
steel heels.
Yeah,
you can't really push them around.
Yeah, it would be very very sound shoe. Yeah, it wouldn't fall
built-in
apart
ankle braces, maybe.
Spurs in it just for shits and giggles.
Very durable shoe is what it would be. Very practical and durable.
Great balance, incredible balance. You never get knocked off your edge there. Very wide, very wide.
Very durable. So you never have to have new shoes coming in. You can wear the same pair for the whole season. Very
and then the ring right in the middle there. It's an even better touch, man. I'm telling you, it's so corny, but also so beautiful.
I feel like he should have put it further down the lace.
Yeah, tie your shoe real tight.
No, I'm saying
That's true. It isn't a very high leverage point of the tie.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like if as soon as your shoe comes untied, that thing just goes flying across the gym.
That's exactly what it's.
So, will or will not Jokic's wedding ring be lost on a basketball court at some point this season?
I'm gonna give it a yes.
I'd say 20%. I'd put the odds at 20%.
That's too funny, man. All right, well, let's take our first break as we hit the generic, nondescript Christmas music once again to make sure YouTube doesn't take our video down.
Merry Yokemiss.
But on the other side, let's talk about clutch points, guys. The GOATs. We're going to talk about their ranking of Jokic and Murray, number 2. But first,
why don't we make our own rankings and talk about that? Clutch points?
I'm sure we will do that, but Kale, bring Eric off the show if you can.
All right, guys. It feels like just yesterday that Los Angeles was lifting basketball's most. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
you
like
hadn't read this before, did you? You didn't read
the read?
You didn't do this. You didn't.
DraftKings.
Yesterday, by the way, yesterday I did a notebook episode. So if you only watch this show on YouTube, we have the podcast as well. Sometimes they're not on YouTube. Go back and listen to yesterday's detailed notes, and also listen to the part where I gave this draft read and read it in advance, so that I didn't say the opening line that they suggest we say.
Well, I mean, we are supposed to read these DraftKings reads pretty word for word, so I'm going to shout out the sponsor here, DraftKings Sportsbook. But the NBA season just wrapped up. We're already back in a new NBA season. DraftKings Sportsbook has introduced a new class of professional basketball, or I don't know. This read from DraftKings all over the place.
It's a very Lakers-heavy draft read. That's why
this is a very big market draft read right here. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is here to kick off the 2020-2021 basketball season with a no-brainer for all customers, new and existing. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. To celebrate the return of basketball, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a plus 75 point spread on the team of your choice on opening night. Is this for real, you guys?
I'm taking
plus
the Nuggets.
75 point spread?
Nuggets plus 75, baby. I'm taking it.
I'm in. I'm gonna go do this show right now.
Yeah, this is another just insane offer from DraftKings. This is free money that DraftKings is giving away to you on opening night of the basketball season. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. So all you have to do is bet on any opening night game, and if your team doesn't lose by more than 75 points, you will double your money. Say no more. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get a plus 75 point spread on opening night for a shot to double your money. That's code DNVR to get a shot at doubling your money on opening night for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. I would actually be a little worried taking the Knicks. Like, I know 75 points is a lot, but I don't know if that's an absolute sure thing.
Hey, Knicks just ran Detroit, man. They just ran them in the preseason.
That's not saying much.
Do you have another read?
I'm just going to also say make sure to check out the Broncos Country Beer from Breck Brew. Hard to miss it in that Broncos Classic can. We've been drinking them at the bar. Another great option from Breck Brew. Pick it up at the farmhouse. Pick it up at your local liquor store.
There's an ice skating rink at the farmhouse.
Breck
So take your kids. The people, all my fellow olds out there.
There's a tubing hill also.
Which actually, our target demographic is my age, which is great. I did, so a lot of olds out there watching the show. All right.
I feel like you promised us you were going to take this hat off too, which is why you were preserving your bangs.
Can I tell you something honestly? I'm a little cold here, and the hat's keeping me warm.
Yeah,
the hat's like totally keeping me warm. I don't want to take it off, so I'm gonna have it.
Can you put it over the bang? You need to make a decision here. Are you on or off the hat?
I'm right in between, man. I'm splitting the difference, on and off. That's the new way to do it. Kale, do you have the clutch points graphic by chance? Is there anywhere here I can send it to you here? Kale asked this. This is not me berating Kale. He literally asked us like 3 hours ago if there was anything we needed, and I did not respond. So he is. So this is not on Kale. I'm not to have
producing for us. Not that dope.
Clutch points. So we got your best duos. If I just told you to name off the best duos in the NBA. Oh wait, no, it was in our Discord chat. That's where somebody put it. The DNVR Lounge. I'm like searching for it. Here it is right here. Okay.
We'll do it live.
The number one, which I don't feel like we can get too upset about, although I will be upset about, it's LeBron James, Anthony Davis.
What?
They did beat the Nuggets.
Shocker.
Like, they do have the crown. Like, we have to go with it. So,
according to ESPN, the top 1 and 2 players in the league. So I would be a little surprised if they weren't the best duo.
It would be pretty great if they weren't, though, after that ranking. So, all right, we don't need to talk about them at all because we don't really want to. But look at this. Number 2, Jokic and Murray. And they use a picture of Jokic from back in his rookie season, which I think is just fantastic. But, guys, here's what I want to say. we've talked a lot about the Nuggets getting respect, and they're not on national television. Like they got very, very few games on national television. So in some ways, the respect is still there. But Michael Porter being bumped up to 51st after only playing like 25 total games in his career and coming off the bench and everything else. Jamal Murray being ranked 21st after, basically having a nuclear level playoffs, but not being that in the the regular season. And now this is the number 2 duo. Are the Nuggets getting? I mean, are they fully up, Brendan? Have they arrived?
I don't know if I would say that they've arrived because it still feels a little bit like a reluctant inclusion from some networks in terms of like the very best teams in the league. But I do think that this is the season we start that national perception of Denver is different. I think there's a casual fan out there that's going to tell you, "Oh, that Jokic guy's nice." 2 years ago, not a chance in hell. And I just think like you're not going to see a lot of people picking Denver. But people are hip to Denver, and they'll be mentioned in those podcasts. Don't sleep on them. They won't be prohibitive favorites, but they're going to get their due this year, I think.
Yeah. I first off, I want to just call out the fact that I'm somehow catching strays in the chat because Harrison Wind messed up the ad read. Then they graphed that onto me. That's not my issue. We've definitely arrived. I mean, can we break number 2? That's incredible. Like, there's we went higher than Kawhi and Paul George. And we went higher and we are. We went higher than Spida and the Stifle Tower. Like all of these like absurd duos that normally at this time of year we would be getting enraged about that they posted them higher. We're number 2, and from a reputable source like Clutch Points, no less.
The pinnacle of sports journalism. What do you think, Wind?
I think they've arrived to an extent. It's funny. I was thinking about the Doris Burke podcast and that soundbite that came out when she was on with Woj. It's always the smart basketball people that are hyping up the Nuggets. I feel like Doris Burke, Zach Lowe, Chris Herring, all the smart mainstream basketball people always hype up the Nuggets. I think that's kind of telling because, like, Jokic. When Jokic was coming up, and obviously, we were hyping him up from the beginning, but you had to see the game a little differently to really appreciate what Jokic was doing, especially in his, first couple years as the starter. And I just think it's fitting now that, the Dorises of the world and the Zach Lowe's of the world are always the ones that are preaching the Nuggets gospel more than anyone.
There is one thing. There is one bone to pick here, though, is that even with all of the respect we've garnered, they still egregiously misspelled Jamal's name with 2 A's, and they did it.
Well, I mean,
multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at that, Jamal. That's great. Great
so
work here.
how much respect have we actually got? That's the real question.
Still in the club, but you have to pay a cover charge.
Yeah, you do have to pay the cover. That's right. Yeah, you have to wait in line. So I like this here. Somebody in the comments saying he started to hear, non-Colorado residents started to hear more people call Jokic after a pickup move, the same way you would do Kobe, after a Kobe shot. But I'm wondering, when do you yell Jokic? Like, what is it that it's got to be a great pass, right?
You didn't hear that the post-up game's back in and pickup?
Well, post-up game never went anywhere in pickup. I mean, post-up game.
If you yell Jokic after a one-handed slinger, that's like groundbreaking, man. Like making a call like that after a pass, that's unheard of.
I love you.
What about after an awkward off-footed floater as you stumble through the lane?
I'm thinking of like a below the rim post move, like an up and under, double spin move that he does or something like that, and people go, "Oh, Jokic!"
Dude, if someone did that in a pickup game and people called Jokic,
just reverse pivot, regular pivot, reverse pivot, regular pivot, Jokic.
What is
touchdown pass for sure, Jokic.
I can't even remember this guy's name now. I don't know why I can't. The center that was on Portland last year that came from Miami. That's
Hassan Whiteside.
Hassan Whiteside had a social video of himself shooting a one-footed three-point shot, and he called Jokic right after. So that's
so dope. Oh yeah, the Sombor shuffle. Could you actually? Do you think are people in pickup taking? Oh, first of all, I am not playing pickup. I haven't played since February, so I'm surprised. But like, if you are, I want to know: are people doing one-legged Sombor shuffles and yelling Jokic?
I love this. He tells us it's really just non-athletic white guys getting buckets.
Yeah, oh, totally. So, yeah, every guy that hit a three and pickup like 15 years ago was J.J. Redick for sure. So, yeah, I get it. It's definitely
And you know what? It's about time out-of-shape white men had some representation in this world.
Yeah, we're people too.
I like Oso Blanco. I was going to say, after you intentionally take a foul, stop a fast break. Jokic.
Or if you just go to the bench with your arms looking as though they've been attacked by a grizzly bear.
That's the Jokic, yeah. Jokic. No, but think about it. I do the Dirk shot. Like the Dirk shot came in. People don't realize this. The Dirk shot really got popularized by Kobe Bryant. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Dirk. I'm just saying about the nature of memes. This is not computer memes, but I'm saying like the evolution of a social thing. Dirk was doing it, but nobody's really copying it. When Kobe Bryant started doing this in like 2006 or 7, like all the players started stealing it, but also at pickup, like you started, and myself included. I was like, oh yeah, that's a move that other people can try. And I wonder with Jokic if it would be similar. Like the Sombor shuffle is a joke of a shot, like unless. Like a more high-profile player maybe adds it to their arsenal, and then people are like, "Oh, that's a thing other people can try." This like awkward off-balance.
James Harden's trying to figure it out. Though. Yeah. It's too hard.
One-footed shots.
So the funny thing about James Harden is there anybody on earth that wants to be compared to James Harden? Like if you're at the gym and someone goes, "Ooh, Harden," you're kind of like,
"Yeah, that's a good point, Adam."
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably anybody that plays pickup basketball with a big beard. Probably feels like
that's true. Yeah, every bid person. But it is also true. Like in pickup, you're not trying to draw fouls. Like, can you imagine just like pickup running into a guy, swooping your arms up, and be like, "All right, check up the top again." And you're like, "What are you doing, man? This is horrible."
I'm just gonna start smacking shit out of your hands when you walk into the office and yell "Faku" and run away.
We should pull up. Actually, Kale, you should find that video too. I'm giving you a bunch, but the Nuggets tweeted it out of him being an absolute pest.
I'll find it for you, Cal. I got you, Cal.
You got him. So yeah, I don't know if you saw what I just pulled up. Real talk though, I've heard it after crafty post moves mainly. So not so much passes, more about any post move, which is really dope.
I mean, the most efficient post up player in the league.
Yeah, of course, and we're not even factoring in the passes here. All right, well, here's what's cool about this list. Let's go up now.
Jamal Murray.
Number 3, who could it be? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And what I love about this, first of all, you've surveyed a bunch of people around the NBA who's the better duo. People would still probably mostly take this, but what I like about it is they literally just played, and those two guys choked, and Jamal Murray and Jokic were so awesome in Game 7 that it's one of those things now where people have to throw out the stats, throw out the advanced stats, throw out the longevity, throw out all of it, and just be like, yeah, but you know what? We watched Game 7, so they're 3.
Kawhi Leonard and Paul George cannot ascend past Jamal Murray
can't.
and Nikola Jokic until they beat the Nuggets in a playoff series, and then... I guess they have an argument there, but it'd be 1-1. They cannot, under any circumstance, go past Jokic and Murray in a duos ranking.
Yeah. Also, where are they at in a likable duos ranking? I'm part of this, and I hate to rag on this because the Clippers, big market as they are, coastal market as they are, still don't have the huge following. But, there's not a lot of Kawhi and Paul George stands out there, at least that I see. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird that their Q scores don't seem that high right now because they too choked pretty bad, but also they just don't seem that likable.
It's because they get the Clipper stink all over them. Nobody likes to stand the Clippers.
One of them never speaks, and the other one can't say the right thing to save his life.
So it's really that's hard. What it is. But that's actually 100% what it is.
But if they were on the Lakers, they'd be the most popular duo in the league, no question.
The fan base speaks for those players. Yeah, they project everything on them. So it's interesting there. But here's what's even more interesting, and I don't even know if I agree with it. KD and Kyrie Irving, who, people have different takes on these two players, so all takes are welcome. I always give my perspective as if it's fact, but, people are welcome to like and hate who they want, including former Nuggets players. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, first of all, if they're so talented, Kevin Durant might be the best player in the league. I don't think he is, but he might be. And then Kyrie Irving, as you're just talking about, a one-on-one duo, these guys, it's surprising to me they're so low.
I think that... Look, there's a big question mark around KD. Everyone is torn between I don't want to overlook an Achilles tear, and that's still Kevin Durant. And I think you're seeing these almost reluctant 4 or 5 kind of placements and stuff because they don't know what to do with it. The other thing is Jokic is better than Kyrie. I think Jamal Murray might have a higher playoff ceiling than Kyrie. That's a crazy thing to say because I know Kyrie was that dude next to LeBron, but it's not that ridiculous when you factor in KD's injury.
I think a lot of this comes from the fact that they've now played one preseason game together total. So it's like we don't know. Like maybe it doesn't work. Like not every pairing works.
That's true. They kind of aren't necessarily a duo as much as they are two Unos.
Look, neither of these guys are
Dos
playing.
Unos.
Like both of these guys have played with better teammates before. That's the reality.
True.
This is not
true.
the best duo that either of them has played on. For Kevin Durant, I think you could argue Pete Westbrook was a better player. So, I mean,
actually,
but definitely Steph.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm just saying, this is like, is it the East? Is it the East? Yes, but like, could Kyrie and Kevin Durant fall short of winning a title? Like, man, dude, easily in my mind, easily.
Yeah. What do you, Harrison? You have no takes on this one.
Well, I don't want to react to one half of preseason basketball that I watched Brooklyn play the other night, but the Nets are winning the East, so I'm not trying to overreact. But I mean, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant looked incredible. The Nets didn't run like one half-court set, but they still ran up 65 points in the first half the other night. And I don't think Steve Nash or Mike D'Antoni stood up once during that entire game. So shouts to them for the chillest coaching job in the NBA right now. But I think the Nets are going to be really good.
Yeah, but you know what I knew yesterday? That both Kyrie or Kevin Durant could play very well in the first half of a preseason game. It's like the question.
You are such a hater, man.
The questions I have about Brooklyn. No, this is ridiculous. The people that are hating on Brooklyn are not saying they wouldn't win a preseason game. Like, no shit.
Right.
No one's saying Kyrie and Kevin Durant are going to be bad. Are they going to win a title? We don't know yet. I don't feel closer to that knowledge because they wrecked fools in the first half of the preseason.
Here's where you're going back to what you hope is true versus what is probably true. And I see people, and you're talking about this, Harrison Wind, about like, okay, they're going to win the East. They don't run any plays. This is just how it's going to go. Like, we want to believe that there's all these other things that have to happen, but sometimes you just have two guys that can't be guarded by anyone, draw an enormous amount of fouls, and it's going to work. And I think the odds of that happening in Brooklyn are pretty high because those guys are really good. But
they've got good players around them too. It's not just Kevin Durant or Irving either.
So I got into trouble because I did this on Locked On NBA a couple months back, and right after the finals, where we were trying to rank the best duos of a decade, and the Spurs fans got mad at me for not having Duncan and Parker higher. But I kept thinking, like, I don't think of them as a duo. There was a trio with Manu, but like they were a team, and this isn't taking away from them. It's just the idea of a duo implies two guys that work off of each other. Yeah. And Parker and Duncan obviously do in part, but that wasn't what the Spurs weren't a duo and a bunch of role players. They were a team. So Kyrie and KD in that same vein, like they're so awesome as individuals, but I don't know how much they're going to directly be playing off of each other or just like passing and like one goes, then passes the other guy.
I mean, did we watch the Instagram live video? The post-ups are still negotiable. Like there are questions.
So it becomes semantic at some point. They're two players that are going to make their team really, really good. Whether or not they're a duo, we could debate, but I think from a talent perspective, they belong higher on this list than that. And then lastly, Giannis and Chris Middleton, and I found this one kind of interesting because when I saw it, my first thought was, is that the duo? They're kind of like Tim Duncan and Tony Parker to me again, where I'm like, I don't know, Drew Holiday's really good too. Like Middleton's good, Drew Holiday's good. Giannis is awesome. I don't know if that's a duo.
It's just a single. It's just Giannis, actually. It's if we're being honest here. Like I don't think Middleton or Drew Holiday are at the level where you can call them a duo with Giannis. I just don't.
All right, that was it. That was fantastic conversation. No other commentary on the Giannis.
I mean, you're kind of, I don't know. It is, I'm kind of processing this. Yeah.
Bam and Jimmy in the NBA Finals. You could say that's a duo.
I would think Bam and Jimmy would be even higher than,
Simmons and Embiid. Simmons and Embiid, not mentioned.
The crazy thing, like as you're scrolling down, you're like, oh man, this is like marquee name after marquee name after marquee name, and Jokic and Jamal are higher than them. Like that's pretty remarkable.
And Jamal definitely get higher. All right, well let's take another break. On the other side, we do have our final topic of discussion, which is
I'm glad I stuck up for myself.
I can't believe they spelled Jamal's name. I can't believe they spelled Jamal's name wrong. Even when we're being respected, the disrespect doesn't stop. It's ridiculous.
So true. It's so true. Let's take a break. Other side, we'll talk about this next game, which I'm excited for. What do we got? 5 days without a game? I'm already having major withdrawals.
Really?
Yeah.
Guys, open enrollment for the spring semester at MSU Denver Online going on right now. So maybe you took a couple credits during college and you're not enrolled in school anymore. Maybe you're looking to finish up your degree, go back and get another degree. Check out MSU Denver Online. It's an awesome option. Great teachers who know how to teach online, which is the only option most of us have these days. msudenver.edu/online is where you need to go to check out their entire course list and enroll in classes. Also, make sure to check out the DNVR Rugby podcast with Colton Strickler. Also, check out his written content on thednvr.com. Keeping you guys locked in to the Denver and to the Colorado rugby scene. There's a lot going on, so check out his podcast, the DNVR Rugby podcast. Download it on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from.
See this MSU, your balls will thank you.
Al Mango's been on fire in the comments section. I see.
I really feel like the greatest advice we can give anybody watching the show for the first time is to mute this stupid goddamn show and just read the comments. So much better. So much better.
All right, so the Nuggets now hosting the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow. It's the first of 2 games of hosting Portland here, so Portland in town for a little bit. Melo back in his old digs. So what are we looking for in this game? To me, and you guys, I'm going to give you my first things first here, which is MPJ. To me, he's the story of the season. He talked today to the media, mentioned how he thought he played well in that last game. He just didn't make shots, but there's shots that he knows he'll make. So I want, to me, all eyes on him. I want to see if it was just a bad shooting night, where his confidence is at, where his aggressiveness is at. And with him, it's funny, with Jokic, we're always like, is his aggressiveness high enough? With MPJ, I'm like, is his aggressiveness low enough to be appropriate? So those are the things I'm keyed in on. I want to watch him, and in particular, if he ends up matching up with Melo a little bit.
I thought he only took one egregious shot in that game. I mean, maybe there's a couple of shots that are questionable. There's only one where you really go. And then you pointed it out, Adam. It's Jokic visibly reacts to it. But I kind of agree with MPJ. I said it that night. I didn't mind the process in that game. I just thought he missed some shots. And look, I think we've all sort of warned fans that there's a possibility of this sort of mental effect here. He's feeling a lot of pressure. He's got to figure out how to fit in with the team. It does not surprise me that he didn't destroy Worlds in game 1. But it is something to watch for sure.
Yeah, he it wasn't necessarily what happened in my view is that he started to miss shots and then he started pressing. He was playing within the flow of the offense and then he just kept missing shots and then it just kind of snowballed. And by the end it was like he was running around, he was making ridiculous mistakes and you're like, oh man, it's this is not what I wanted to see. But I feel like should MPJ make a few of his first shots, then the pressure relieves. It's like you're saying, though. He's feeling it a little bit.
Yeah. It would be great for him to just see the ball go through the net a couple of times. I mean, he was 3 of 12. He's the number one thing I'm watching, and just can he get really on the same page with Yoke and Jamal? It's going to be the storyline of these next 2 games, and probably over the early part of the season too. The other big thing that I'm watching for, I guess I could potentially be watching for because we don't know for sure if he's playing yet, but Will Barton said today that he thinks he's going to be able to play in this preseason game. Obviously, it would be the first game that he's playing in since March, aside from a half of a scrimmage inside the bubble. And I'm just curious to see what he looks like. I feel like we don't really have a good gauge on if he's back to being himself, if he's 100%. Because if he is, I mean, he'd be a huge factor this season. So very
he sure
curious about
hinted at that. Don't you think, Harrison, that that's what he was hinting at today in his media availability? That he's like, I'm ready to go. I'm waiting to see if I'm cleared, but I think I'm ready.
He thinks, at least from what he said today, that he should be able to play.
And he's participated in practice the last couple of days. He said full 5-on-5.
He said he's done everything. Quote, I've done everything.
That's really encouraging to me, by the way. This is big news. Will Barton, I've kind of had him penciled out of the rotation for a while because I just thought it would be a slow coming back. He's sort of and there's no reason for him to do this. This is why this is really, I'm sorry, Vote, because I just think this is really important news, but if he wasn't certain about it, I feel like you would put water on the flame. Say well, I don't know. We're going to take it slow. We're going to be smart. I'm not concerned about it. But instead, he's like, no, I'm ready. I'm hoping I play tomorrow.
So just to clarify, like he meant recently he started participating again, right? He wasn't sort of disputing this notion that he's been held out. He's just saying like in the last few days he started going again.
Well, we know that as a fact. I mean, Malone came out and said as much in the early part of practice that he wasn't participating. So
Gotcha. No, I was just a little confused by the context of Barton.
It's a new development that he's been participating in 5-on-5.
Cool.
He might actually jump to storyline number 1 because as much as we're like itching to see Michael Porter score and knock down those shots, like it's going to happen eventually. Like that's one thing he can do, and we're not going to have the answer of whether or not Michael Porter has fit seamlessly into the starting lineup we're not going to have that answered tomorrow. It'd be fun to see it, but we're not going to have it answered. But Will Barton and whether or not he's healthy, we would have an answer. If we saw him play and he plays without, any limitations, and looks like his old self, we would see that. And if he plays and looks like, oh, that guy can't jump and he's running so slow and he can't handle, then we would see that as well. So that one is high up on my list as well.
And also the bench dynamic with Barton, because I presume he'll be coming off the bench if he does play tomorrow. The bench dynamic changes entirely. It gives you a number 1 option, quote unquote, on that second unit next to a Facu, a Monte Morris, Jermichael Green, and Isaiah Hartenstein. I'm curious to see how those pieces fit together if that is the lineup we get.
We have breaking news we have to go to. Sorry, we have to some breaking news. Kel, do you see what has been sent to you by Eric in the chat? I feel vindicated here after seeing this.
Yeah, me too. That's why.
Did Kel leave? Maybe I'll pull it. I think Kel might have taken a little bit of a bathroom break or something.
Yeah,
tough work.
Make sure to mute your mic, Kel.
Donovan. So here we have the Nuggets. Heard it here first. Am I shared screen here? Is that what's going on?
Yep.
Did Kale also share the screen, though? Is that what's happening here? Yeah, he did. I got it already.
Kale's sharing the screen, yeah.
So here we have it. Here it is first. We call him Spider-Man, blah, 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 then Donovan Mitchell. What? You guys know this meme, right? This Blinken.
Donovan Mitchell, not impressed.
Not impressed with the Spider-Man nickname that the Nuggets are going with. In fact, I think somewhat annoyed by it. Guys, I hate to do this. I hate to do it. I'm on Donovan Mitchell's side on this.
Me too,
I'm on his side. What are we doing here?
He's right. First of all, even if Spider-Man was available, it's still a bad nickname.
It's bad. Yes, exactly. It is a horrible
nickname. I will say this. There's still hope. We could see Facu really, really give Donovan Mitchell a hard time in a regular season game, and we can rebrand this as Venom.
Oh,
and there's something there. That's all I'll say.
Or maybe we can just decide who gets to retain and who has to vacate the nickname Spider-Man.
I do have to say, Facu has more Spider-Man tendencies, I would say, than Donovan Mitchell. I'm with Donovan Mitchell on this. I think it is his nickname. He's the rightful owner of it. But just objectively speaking, I think Facu's got more Spidey tendencies.
In what way? I don't even know.
Just more like he's more of a darter than Mitchell.
More of a darter.
I think a little shiftier, better change of direction.
Better at swinging on webs.
Do we care that Donovan Mitchell is able to rise up above the level of the rim, whereas this Spider-Man is basically
a little ground bound.
Donovan Mitchell's definitely dropping 50 on the Nuggets first time they play this year, which would be exactly like what he does already.
Yeah, he's just matching him. Who cares?
He's just going to match him. All right, back to our regular scheduled program here. Also looking forward tomorrow night's game. I want to see Jamal Murray if he's more assertive. And not even assertive. Let's see where he was. Like, his game wasn't bad by any means, but it was quiet. And it's preseason. He doesn't get judged. But I'd like to see Jamal be, you just always – you want to see one good sign from every key player that you're not worried about. You just want to see one good thing. I want to see one good thing from him.
I got to be honest. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I don't want to see anything. I don't even want to see Jamal Murray play.
That's fair. That's a fair take.
I want to see Facu Campazzo play an entire game at every position that they'll put him at. I want to see Zeke Naji come in, knock down some more shots. I want to see Bol get in the goddamn game. I want to see. I mean,
well,
again,
can we go these one at a time? That's kind of how the show is structured. But we can just list them all up one at a time.
I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize.
And if I mention the doc that has the show notes, you roll your eyes at me. No, but I'm serious. But those things are all interesting. They're all. But Jamal Murray in particular, I just want to see one.
I don't want to see him play.
Harrison, where do you fall?
Yeah. I said this last week. I'd be cool with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic sitting out the entire preseason. But I'm curious about Jamal. Maybe I'm reading into this too much. I don't know. He was not in a great mood when he spoke to the media prior to preseason game number 1, and came out, had a pretty quiet preseason game number 1. Was in a great mood when he spoke to the media the other day prior to preseason game number 2. Maybe that carries over. I don't know. We'll see.
I could see more from Hartenstein, who I'm just highly intrigued by, because it's just I'm curious to see more of. JaMychal Green.
First of all, Hartenstein, Will Barton was asked who has stood out in training camp so far in practice, and Hartenstein was one of the names. He's Facu, who got a big smile, and then Hartenstein. Those were the names.
I think he's going to be good, and I also just the idea. I mean, he gets to play with 2 dynamic pick and roll partners on a second unit, so. I mean, there's a chance that Hartenstein has a very, very, nice backup year in Denver. And then if I didn't see anything super encouraging from JaMychal Green. Of course, it's just like one preseason game, and he's not a guy who is necessarily looking to get his shot off out there. So, that's not too surprising. But I would like to see him look a little more at ease the next game for sure.
So I don't understand. Everyone is just rattling off every player they want to see.
Well, we're off the rails. We're off the rails. I know. I tried that. Well, you started it, and now here we are. But Hartenstein, are you? I mean,
yeah,
Eric.
Man, listen, I want to see all of these players that have just been names. I want to see what they're able to do. Like I want to see Marcus Howard. I want to see Isaiah Hartenstein. I want to see Zeke Naji. I don't want to see any of the players that we know what they can do. None of the known commodities. They can all sit. We'll see them in a couple days when the season begins. There's just, especially that second unit. I would like just to see the second unit play the entire game, basically.
And the third unit. That's why it's so great. I mean, Marcus Howard, I would like to see him get in and find out what happened. I heard he's had a couple good practices, so I'm curious to see if he can get some shots up.
Yeah.
Can I also have one thing I don't want to see.
Okay.
Will Barton yet. Just take the time. Just take your sweet time. I just feel like the team isn't ready, and
it does feel weird if he wasn't ready in March, April, May, June, July, September, October, November, December, and now we're like, but he is now. It's now we're ready.
Now he's fully ready to go.
His healing, his long-term healing, coincidentally lined up to the second preseason game. It was like,
yeah, I agree with you, Vote. Though I think that's a good point. What about Bol minutes? I'm so curious to see what happens. I mean, I've poked around. I haven't really gotten a great response on this one, but Bol didn't play a ton of minutes. I thought he was for sure going to play more than, I thought he would get 12 minutes at least, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So the fact that he got token last guy off the bench minutes is, I don't want to say concerning, but I hope that that's not the case tomorrow. And if it is, I'll probably have no choice but to read into okay, maybe it doesn't sound like he is close to the rotation if that's the case. So.
Yeah, I wonder if we can already read into it. I mean, he looked bad in those 6 minutes, too. It looked like something was off to me, just like he wasn't mentally there. He just seemed kind of out of it. I've heard he's had some really good moments in camp and some bad moments as well, so I'd like to see him play more, though, for sure.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. I see the comment. I just want to address it. Love the clip of Jamal next to Moch on the sideline, taking a step up as a leader. I mean, I think so too, absolutely. And the intensity. This is one thing. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you don't realize that this is a podcast. Not every episode is live. Most are, but not all are live. After games, I personally do a one-off just with myself doing a notebook pod where I walk through the entire game, I rewatch the game, and I provide detailed notes. One of the notes that popped out to me, though, was the team on the sideline being, in that fourth quarter, and I don't know if it was Facu's energy or the comeback or all of those things, but, man, every single player was up for, 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, just in their defensive stance, cheering, running up and down. And that stuff I actually don't think is overstated, because you can watch a team even in the preseason and see guys that just look like they don't talk to each other, look like they don't know each other. And then you see a team that's having legitimate fun trying to win and rooting on their third stringers. And that's an important thing. And the Nuggets have had that. They still have it, it appears.
But preseason stock, I am buying this notion that the fresh blood is helping, that these guys are sort of reinvigorated. And I would wager that I think the Nuggets are going to get a lot of value out of Facu in games, but I think he might even still provide the most value in practice You know, the way he's going to challenge Jamal and challenge Jamal as a leader, but also, like, he just has a love for the game, and his motor does not stop. You talked about the bench getting up and mobbing. I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening even in practices, you know, with some of the stuff Facu's probably trying and willing to do. I think there's an infectiousness there, which I'm maintaining is still a positive word despite 2020. I think it's a real thing, and it's the top thing I love about the Facu signing off the bat.
Yeah. I think so too. And then the last thing I would say is the bench unit just looking more coherent and cohesive. I thought, yeah, and coherent, to be honest with you. Like that first stretch that this bench unit played in the last game was the worst stretch you could possibly imagine. But again, they just met each other. So I'm hopeful that this next game, whatever lineup and combination they throw out as the second unit, you look at it and go, okay, it's starting to come together. Because guess what? There's only one more preseason game after that, then they count. So if your second unit, the closer we get to this, your second unit, you don't want to get to opening night with Sacramento, and then when the second unit checks in, you're going, oh God, don't give up a 10-point lead here. You know, so I'm really curious to see if there's more cohesion with that group.
Good stuff.
I'm very curious to see as well. I mean, the Facu thing, I think votes on the money with the Facu thing. Him pushing Jamal in practice and just the energy he injects into this team. I mean, we heard about an absolutely ridiculous pass that he threw in practice the other day that everybody was going wild
over the head, right?
Yeah, like a Jokic over the head pass in traffic. It's an absolutely unreal pass.
Dude into the corner in the pocket.
Like, I mean, he is unreal, man. He's unreal.
I can't wait for it. I'm so excited. I'm telling you, man. 4 or 5 days off without basketball in between. It was such a tease. It was such a tease. We got just a little bit of it. We're like, oh, we're back. And then we had 5 days where we're like, all right. So now we get it.
Remember the 5 months or whatever we had with no
I'll never forget.
sports
Yeah, I'll never forget. Now we get it. Then we'll be back Thursday talking about the game. Then we have a game Friday. Then we got a weekend. And then guess what? Basketball's back for real, the regular season. So
baby.
I'm excited for it. Don't forget to check out our live post-game show tomorrow. We're going to bring on our homie, Devalier Johnson. He'll be on the show with us as well. We'll see everybody again.
Superstar Dev, baby.
Adios.